Well, here we go on the first maiden voyage on the Yamaha T700. I'm just a little shy of the airport. I didn't really want to turn the camera on until I kind of got the feel of it, because it's so much different. I spent a little bit of time on the street glide, and I'm on my way to Cape Breton. Going to do the Cabot Trail. Going to take, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 nights. Just going to fart around and have some fun. So I'd love to have gone up with street glide, but the whole idea is to do an evaluation on this bike. So I got a call from Shore Cycle, and my V-Strom was ready. It was in for some service. A couple of things it needed after the big trip. Things that you just want to do, and it takes a little while to get stuff, but I got it back. So I would have probably liked to have had a little bit more time on that to compare this, because these are the two bikes that I'm trying to compare. The differences, and then, what I like about both of them. But anyway, I'm starting to really slide into the feel of this bike. It's only 700cc, actually a little bit less. Same engine as the FZ07. But the bike has a completely different configuration. The geometry of the bike, I guess you'd call it the rake maybe. But the front wheel, the position, of the forks, the angle, the bike falls in so easily into a turn. And if you're into a big, you're coming off of a trunk highway and going to turn onto the ramp and go out to the highway, those are even more than 90 degree because they come right back. This bike, when you lean in there, when you probably hit like 20 degrees around, it falls right in and pulls you right around. I haven't ridden another bike that has that feel. Maybe the Fat Boy a little bit, because the front end is so light and loose that, and especially now with the suicide shifter, so one hand's on the shifter, one's up on the bar, so it feels like it just wants to flop over and around, which is, until you get used to it, it's kind of a little bit of unnerving. But this bike, when you come up behind, like if there's a tight parking spot and you want to come in behind a vehicle and flip right in around it, you're first gear and you're just waddling along. Well, most bikes you feel when you make that hard turn, you feel like you're going to fall over. Not with this bike. You just go. If you stop, it'll get jiggity. But if you just let it go right around, it will turn in real easy. And I noticed that the other day on a bit of a dirt road. So it gives you a real sense of confidence on the dirt roads when it'll come around that easy. And now you look behind this truck, like I'm not wobbling all over the place for a 440-pound motorcycle. I'm actually, there should be a lot of wind turbulence there, and I got to scoot right in between these two. It's got good pickup there to go down through there. Two trucks, one on either side. I wasn't getting shaken all over the place. So I'm happy that way for a motorcycle that's 440 pounds, that if I want to be on the big highway. And going to Cape Breton, this, to go down the shore, the 7, Eastern Shore, would have been nice. But I'm going to have the whole of Cape Breton Island to crisscross as many back roads and dirt roads and stuff that I can find. So I want to see what this motorcycle is like out on the highway. And when I first got this morning, I felt like it was wobbling a bit. And I said, well, it's got pretty aggressive tires on it. When I bought this package, came with it. They're, more of a 50-50 than an 80-20. So I thought, okay, there'd be a little bit of movement. I put it on some of the highway snakes, you know, the tar, and put it in some of the broken grooves, and it gave me my confidence there to know that, no, it's just the way the bike is. But now that I'm out here, after 80 kilometers or so, I'm very happy with the motorcycle. There's a few little adjustments that I'll make. Like these hand grips are really smooth. They got to be roughed up a little bit because your hands will move around on them. The position of the levers, I've got to knock it down a bit, because what happens, like my hand is straight across there, so it kinks my wrist, which shortens my reach, if you see it there. But if you roll that lever down, this lever down, it straightens your wrist out, which gives me, look where my fingers are, if I straighten it. So if that's down, then it gives me out to that knuckle there, where I want to be, not on the tips. And I feel, instead of pulling the lever back, I'm pulling it into me. It's kind of coming up. So that's how I like to set my levers up. That, not like this, you see my wrists are bent. I like to have my hands across the top, wrists straight, and hands aimed down a little bit. Because what it'll do, it'll exhaust your forearms. If you're in this position, you got engagement of the muscle down there. You want it forward and just let it relax, aim down. And then it extends your reach out over there. So that's one little thing, but there's many things that I like about it. See a little bit of an air wobble there, and coming across a couple of lanes, you see how it just kind of waddled a bit, but you just let that go. I like the gear up here. You see the number. I mean, you know what gear you're in by the sound. But all motorcycles have a display that tells you what gear, and most of them are so small. So that big number up on the top there, I do like that. For the lever, or for the signal light, it's very easy where my thumb is. Left, right, push it in. I don't even have to look. And when I do, because things can break. You turn your signal light on, maybe something's not working. But just look down where I'm looking right up here. If I turn it on, see, it's so easy. So it's very easy to find it and turn it off, and very easy to see that it's working. So I like that. Big number display, tack on the outside, like that. Picking up a little wind. See where there's a little bit of movement right there? I'm right on the edge of the wheel rut and the high side. And I'm just trying to see how the bike handles along that transition with the wind coming off of those trucks. I'm running 125. And to me, it's important to know that when it's dry, and then I'll know what, the next step will be when it's wet. Happy there. Little bit of extra wind I find, maybe a small windshield. Let's go controlled here, but out there, you see right there? Okay, and that'll come back just to the side of the helmet. Now, I've had many people say, well, you're outside. You're on a bike. Yeah, and the people that say that are usually sitting in their house on a couch while you're out in the rain and the heavy wind and the cold. So if it's just a motorcycle that you're going out for an evening ride, yeah, and it's warm. But the idea for me is to do 700 kilometers a day, no matter what the weather is. And that means that I configure the motorcycle right, my gear right, my training right, and my planning right. So you want all the cards in your favor. And if there's a little bit too much wind coming, you're the one that's on the motorcycle 700 kilometers a day in the rain. And if you pay attention to what somebody says from their armchair doesn't do you a damn bit of good when they're gone to bed and you're still on the bike struggling. So you take my advice, you configure the bike the way you want it, your gear the way you want it, and forget what anybody else says from their armchair. I've been down that road and I'm adamant about it. Because the whole idea for me, I don't ride the motorcycle in comfortable rainy days and hide under an overpass when it's raining. I live on the motorcycle and I ride it. When I go, I go. So there is gear, there is attachments that will keep you out there in probably as good a shape and comfortable as you can be. So that's all I'll say on that. But anyway, I really do like this motorcycle. I'm going to get the feel for running down the highway at, these 125, 130. For going across the country. But I think it's more designed for the nice back roads and then to go off on the dirt road, because this is a dirt motorcycle. It's got the pedigree of a dirt bike. The V-Strom is a bigger gazelle, those transcontinental types. It's nimble. I took the Pan America out. I didn't get it in to go in the woods with it. Obviously they're not going to let that. People do that. And I took it out and I had some fun with it. But then when I got on the V-Strom, it came back to me. The V-Strom is more of a gazelle than the Pan America. The Pan America, I guess, can be a little broody and it's boxy. Where the V-Strom is more of a gazelle. It's more nimble going from side to side. That's my feeling, and I spent a lot of time on it. This motorcycle is somewhere below that. It's just as nimble, maybe quick turning, but I wouldn't call it a gazelle. But this will outdo the V-Strom in the dirt and outdo the Pan America in the dirt, because it's just the way the bike is built. This more than likely will be my motorcycle that will stick Eastern Canada to do a lot of Newfoundland and Nova Scotia, and New Brunswick, adventure touring. I'm not saying that I wouldn't take it out west, cross country and up, but I've got another bike for that. Anyway, that's kind of my first impressions on this. Catch you up on the Highlands.